Welcome to the Leading Hope Podcast with Kevin Jack. Your influence will lead people somewhere, lead them towards hope. Everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.
Welcome to Leading Hope with Kevin Jack. I'm your host, VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. We release a new episode every Wednesday, so we'd love for you to share on social media and bring others along with us on this journey of becoming a better leader. Visit leadinghope.online to get updates and find out more about the Leading Hope community. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it would mean the world to me, and you would enjoy it. And hey, post about it, rate and review. You would not believe how that helps us get this podcast into the hands of so many more leaders like you. Kevin, today we start a brand new series and a whole new year, really, starting with a new series you've titled Courage, and number 51. You want to tell them the title?
Coming right off the live
Man.
episode.
That was fun.
We're going to do more of those in the near future.
It was fun. I like it. Yep, today is episode 51. New series, Courage, Start Leading.
Start leading.
Man, I don't even know where you're going to go with this, but I'm excited.
So a lot of the content for this podcast comes out of our series that we did on weekends at Be Hope Church titled Already Ready on the Life of Daniel. But this is a different take on it. And so if some of this is helpful, man, check that out. Hopefully that will just kind of create some different pockets of information and a different perspective on this. But we're going to spend the next 4 weeks talking about courage. And all episode 51 is about why. And it's this simple idea. And my hope is by the time we're done today, you not only understand the idea, but you understand how it impacts you, because you may disagree with it at first. And the idea for today is simply this: courage establishes you as a leader. Courage is what establishes you as a leader. And at first you may hear that and you'd think, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Good stuff.
Not a big deal. But this is why, as I've studied this more and more, why that is kind of baffling is because your skill set will get you the job. Your productivity will keep your job. Your accomplishments will get you promoted. And yet, even within all those different things, only courage will establish you as a leader. You can have all those things and have the authority to lead and still not be leading. You can be in charge and still not be leading. So here's, let me kind of take this as case in point. The ways in which courage establishes you as a leader. To clearly define a direction or name the problem requires courage. Because for one, you might be wrong. And for two, if everyone already saw the problem, it wouldn't require someone to name the problem. This is how, if I could share it like this is how most of life works. We assume the person who names the problem is the one who can lead us out of the problem, which is not the case at all.
No.
Like at all. But that's if I could take us back to the 2016 election.
Oh, do you want to do that?
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know.
Hey, courage.
Yeah.
We're actually talking about stupidity in the next episode, but we'll get to that then. In the 2016 election, it fascinated me that both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump named the problem within our economy. Like, they named the problem. Both of them had radically different ways of solving it, but people naturally viewed them. Like Bernie, if you remember, like, just kind of, we have a tendency to rewrite history. Bernie, if you remember, was a dark horse, no-name candidate at the start of the Democratic primaries.
This is true.
And then was one of the final two. Like, was a no-name, but they both named the problem. And if someone names the problem and says, this is what's wrong, and no one else has seen clearly that is what's wrong, but they're right about it, that automatically establishes you as a leader. Now, I don't want you to view that as license of, I should just go around criticizing stuff and that's my goal for leadership. But oftentimes people are afraid to speak up on the thing that we all kind of know is off, but no one is willing to name is off. And to do that is an act of courage. To move in a direction, whether others go with you or not, requires courage because you might be alone. Like to decide you're going to start something or you're going to change something or you're going to live your life differently. That is an act of courage. And so you go, no one may follow me. I may be alone in this. But if people do follow me, then automatically I am beginning to lead in that moment. And for all the time that we think your skill set, your productivity, all these other things, that's leadership. Oh, it is courage that establishes you as a leader. To do something that is worth following requires courage because that means it's also worth criticizing. Now, we did a whole series before on criticism and how you respond to criticism, and we'll link to that as we get in the show notes if you didn't get a chance to listen or watch in on that and want to check that out. But leaders always struggle with criticism. Criticism is part of leadership. And we don't understand it because we don't understand that courage establishes you as a leader. When you understand that courage establishes you as a leader, it has the logical conclusion that that means I'm doing something that's worth criticizing, and so I should expect criticism. It baffles me when leaders are baffled that they're receiving criticism.
Yeah.
They just go, well, it means you're going somewhere. Unless if the criticism is you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you're going to get criticism one way or another. That is part of leadership because courage is an essential component of leadership. And then let me just zero in on this one part. I've given a lot of stuff that really has to do with starting leadership, of like to name the problem, to define a direction, to move a direction, to do something that's worth following. All of these require courage. One of the most important things that leaders do, I believe, is they make decisions, hopefully wise decisions, hopefully decisions that other people have had an opportunity to weigh in on because no one is smart enough to know everything. But to make a decision requires courage because to say yes to something automatically means you're saying no to something. Every time a decision is made on direction, courage is what is needed. There should be an element of risk, whether this has to do with your strategy, the direction that you're headed, the team that you're taking with you. Like this could be a personnel thing. It could be a resource thing. But every time a decision is made, courage is needed. Now, I hope you're buying into this a little more. That was a simple statement at the beginning. Courage establishes you as a leader. You're starting to see, you go, no, if I want to lead, I need courage, which means I'm going to be criticized, which means I might be alone. And so within that, there's a risk of leadership. If courage establishes, there is a risk in leadership. And here are the three most common risks in leadership. And we've already touched on some of these, but I just want to spell them out. And I don't spell these out to discourage in any way. I want you to know what you're getting into. So we go, oh, I want to lead because people talk about leadership. Here's the deal. You might not want to lead. Could we just acknowledge that for a second? We go, everyone has leadership, but some of you may not want to expand your leadership because you go, it's too high of a price to pay. I don't care enough about what I'm doing in order to take that risk. And I'll just share, man, I felt that at moments in my life. And I don't mean it within church. I can remember in college in different moments, like student government and stuff like that. And I thought, and if you were a part of that and it was worth it to you, I'm glad. I'm glad it was worth it to you. It wasn't to me. I was like, it's just not worth it. I don't care. I don't care to get criticism. I don't care enough about what you're building to take courage and to criticize and to take the criticism that I'm going to receive. Was that too much?
No, it was just funny.
You okay with that?
No, I think it was great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You just might not care enough, and that's perfectly fine. Walk away. Like, don't do it. But here are the risks within leadership. Three most common. You might be wrong, you might be alone, and you will get criticized. Like those are the risks that are a part of leadership. The decision you make might be wrong. The problem that you name, you may be off. It requires courage because it's not a sure thing. If If it was a sure thing, everybody would already be moving on it, and you
yes.
would not be the leader.
That's
Okay,
right.
You might be wrong. You might be alone. You might go, "We're going to do this," and half the people who said they were going with you don't go with you, or no one who said they were going with you except your spouse and your mother. And that's like, you're going, ooh, my goodness. You might be alone, and you might, I'll say, switch that. You will be criticized. You'll either be criticized for the direction that you're going or for the lack of direction and movement altogether. You're going to get criticized one way or another. So if you're going to lead once, it might require courage. If you're going to lead for a lifetime, that might turns into a will, and you have to maintain courage, okay? If you want to establish yourself as a leader, you need a single moment of courage. But if you want to lead for the duration of your life, it's not just I might need courage. Courage is a necessity. Courage must be a part of who you are. And I believe that leadership is established through a very, very simple practice. Embrace the obstacle. Embrace the difficulty that's in front of you, because that is the scene of your courage. Tackle the difficult thing. Don't ignore it. Take it head on. Use wisdom. Listen to others, but don't make excuses. Embrace the obstacle. Courage establishes you as a leader.
Embrace the obstacle.
Embrace the
Embrace
obstacle,
it.
man.
Hug it, man.
Unless if
Go
you
ahead.
don't care.
Yeah, and if you
Which
don't
means
care,
just
you
like,
kinda
don't embrace it. Just
Yeah.
walk away.
May.
Don't say you're a leader. Just say,
Yeah.
I really don't care about this.
Someone lead me. But I won't start from the back and forward, because I'm glad you put it in there, because I was looking at this just as you were reading it, and it's you might, and I'm thinking you will. Like, that's what I'm going, like, out of those things that you said you might run into, that you might be wrong, or that you will be wrong, or that you will be alone, that you will be criticized. I think a lot of people would like to know, Kevin Jack, what of those three things you don't care about being criticized? I don't think, personally, but
I'm not going to say I love it, but I've received enough criticism that it doesn't bother me.
Well, and I wrote something about, we don't have to like it to learn from it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's that's the beautiful thing of
it never
criticism.
blindsides me.
But
I know it's coming.
But of those three, what's the hardest for you to deal with? Being wrong, being alone?
Wrong. And this is why, is I hate the idea that we could have gotten there faster than we did.
That's good.
Now, I don't know all the information on the front end. And so there's always a risk involved with the decisions. And if you wait until you have 100% of the information, like, part of the information isn't discovered until you move into the future. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
And so I can't ever wait until I have all the information. But I hate it knowing whenever, man, I researched as much as I could. I made the decision. We went the wrong way. Case in point, when the start of the pandemic hit and everyone's at home, and we moved our entire church strategy from in-person to digital, and we offered 100 different things. I look back in that and I go, I wish we would have just tried to take every single person through our onboarding process, which is called Forward. I said, I wish we would have focused all of our resources and all of our staff to say, let's take every person we possibly can through Forward. And so I look at that and I go, man, I decided wrong on that.
That's good. That's good that you, that's fantastic. It's not,
Well, you say it's fantastic, but I'm kicking myself that I shoot.
Yeah, but at least, you're self-aware and know that, hey, this is the things that I know I need to be preparing for in the future. That's good. The other thing that you had, and I love the way you started this out. Your skill set will get you the job. Your productivity will keep your job. Your accomplishments will get you promoted, but only courage. And I love what you said here is you can be in charge and still not be leading. We've seen this all over our lives. Yeah. Every person who's ever reported to somebody at some point in your career or your work load, whatever it is, whatever you've been doing, whatever project you've been placed on, we've seen this happen.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of there are so many coaches who are in charge. I've got the air quotes for those people on podcasts that aren't watching the video that have lost the locker room.
Yeah.
They've lost the locker room.
Yep.
So they're in charge, but they're not leading anything. Talk more about that piece and what you can do to, I know, like, we've talked about some coaches will, when they're failing in the locker room, find leaders on the team to help them lead. Talk about more opportunities for you if you feel like you've lost the locker room.
Oh my God. So you want to talk about how do we rehabilitate?
I mean, you need courage at that point.
All right, so let's say, why did you lose the locker room? Or put it in scenario, why'd you lose the office? Why'd you lose your family? Why'd your family? And you go, could be a couple things. It could be you went the wrong direction.
Okay.
And so if you're an NFL fan, we saw the Texans coach, Bill O'Brien, recently got fired. He was courageous, but he made some bad decisions, and he was wrong. He traded the wrong people. He assembled the wrong team, and they suffered for it. And so, like, if you're wrong, the only way to reestablish team is to, let's use a biblical term.
Ooh.
Repent.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, the reality is to go, if you made the wrong decision, the most courageous thing you can do once you're aware that it's the wrong is to turn around, like own it.
Ooh.
And move around in the other direction. The other way that you lose the locker room is you are either a puppet of the authority that's above you, and your team knows you don't really care about what's happening on the ground. You're just trying to impress.
Yeah.
Or you're not actually going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have the title of boss, you have the title of authority, but you're not a leader because you're not moving in any direction. And so the best thing you can do in those moments is to begin in moving a direction.
That's good. I think that's important to know because I think that's bound to happen if it's not your team, a project. Yeah. It could be a number of things that you'll run into that you'll need to have that advice.
If you're going the wrong direction, you don't win the locker room by doubling down on the wrong direction, though.
Yeah. That doesn't take much courage.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, speaking of that, so you've titled this "Start Leading."
Start leading.
We're talking about courage. Is courage something that you just have, or do you find it? Do you build up to it? Do you create it? What is courage and how
you are previewing? We are episode 51.
Yeah.
You are previewing episode 53.
Oh, I am. I haven't looked at it.
I know you haven't. It makes it more fun this way. I didn't mean like I know you haven't, like VJ. I know you haven't. Like this is how we roll.
I know.
We
I
like
know,
it a lot better this way.
Well, I know that to someone on the other end of this who's listening, they're asking these questions. Well, I want to start. I want what you Kevin Jack just said. What do I need to? What do I need to do? Help me, brother.
Yeah. Well, let me say it like this, just from as you look at the arenas of your life, of to go, this is a leadership podcast.
Yes.
I'm not a leader everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I have a skill set in different fields of strategic thinking, stuff like that, but I am not looked to as a leader everywhere. And it's because I haven't shown courage in those areas. And the reason why I haven't shown courage is because I don't care. Like, I just don't care to apply myself to that area.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the biggest things you can do is to go, where do I care? Or to push it a little harder, where should I care?
Yeah.
Because the tendency is, speak to guys, because I think this is more of a temptation for guys. The temptation is to lead at work or in your field, but not at home, because you care more about what's happening there than you do in your own house. Powerful. And so you don't go in a direction and you don't make decisions in that area. And it's a heart issue, not a skill issue.
That's good. That's great. Man, we could talk about that for a while. That could go way past 20 minutes, but we only have a few more minutes here. I got one more question for you, but I'm going to save it for the next episode.
Alrighty.
What do you want someone to walk away from today? The first of 4 in this courage series, man. What do you want? Start leading today.
You cannot downplay the significance of courage. So if you want to lead, there is a risk involved because courage is the piece that establishes you as a leader. Find the arena that you're willing to be courageous for, and then start leading.
That's where we'll leave it for episode 51. I am pumped This is going to be an incredible, man. We keep asking them, what's your favorite series? The next one.
The next
one is my favorite series, and I hope it's your favorite as well. Episode 51, Start Leading, new Courage series. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, mean the world to us if you did that now. And post about it. Rate and review or both. You won't believe how this helps to get the podcast in the hands of so many more leaders just like you. Be courageous in posting this. We would love hearing your stories and how the podcast is working in your life and business. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send those to us. We love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.